Hey guys, it's been a hot minute, but life happens. Anyway, here we are, the first day of June. No, not June, July. The first day of July. Holy cow. Anyway, let's do a real quick garden update because if nothing else, I want this for my records. First off, if we're keeping score, we got a new dog. His name is Blue, and he is a sweetheart. I don't know where the other dogs are. So we'll start on the patio here. We've rearranged. I don't think that it was this way when I did my last garden update. So I have flowers here. I actually had different colored flowers here and then transplanted them elsewhere. We'll see here in a minute. And I planted these here. And there was a pink one, but I don't know what happened. It has been so hot. Yesterday we got a little bit of a reprieve. And so then if you come over here, we have this planter. Like, I don't think I had any of these planters when I did my last one. I haven't watched, actually. We have a bunch of different things here, and they're doing fairly well. I cut a bunch of herbs here to dry, and these are actually just drying on a towel. I did get my dehydrator out, and I've dehydrated some here. I have the oregano over here because it wasn't doing well where it was, so I moved it. And don't look at my poor cast iron. This is a planter right outside my door. We probably should have looked at it when we first started the video, but hey, you live and you learn. So my dogs get into a fight. Blue's new, and the dogs just, they're getting to know each other, and it's been entertaining. That's the word we'll use. I've had to break up a few fights, and it's sad, but we're getting better. Anyway, back to this. This is very patriotic, even though the flowers are purple. At least the pot is blue. And these flowers seem to thrive right there. I love it. Then, on the other side of everything, I have parsley. This is curly parsley. It's doing okay. It was only one plant, and it had a little bit of a slow start, but we're getting there. We have Greek oregano here. We have basil here. Now the basil I actually bought as a plant in a store up in Springfield and brought it home and planted it there. So it is different than the basil that I raised. That's Genovese basil. This is actually just 2 rosemary plants. The rosemary is just going crazy, but in a good way. Then this is all planted to strawberries. This is the deeper pockets, so there's only 5 high on it. And every row is a different variety. There are 3 varieties. So like this bottom row and then the 4th row up are the same variety. 2 and 5 and then 3 and 1 over here. Then this was actually planted to garlic, but I pulled all of the garlic and it is no longer planted to garlic. I went and I bought more varieties of strawberries. They are the same 3 varieties of the strawberries in the other plant. Sorry, my wind chimes are finally getting a workout. It's kind of windy today. Anyway, they're the same varieties and it's every other. This one is the smaller, so it is 7 tier. So the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the first 5 are planted to strawberries. And then these top 2 are either, well, there's nothing in that one. Interesting. The top 2 are either basil. We've got some sage here. I got the spinning rolling base, and I'm telling you, totally worth it. Anyway, then we have English thyme here. All the basil is sweet basil that I raised. If I bought it, then it's, different. We have some chives, and then we have this pretty petunia here. So that's what is in these 2. Okay, so I was telling you I had transplanted some petunias. These are actually the ones that started out over by the furniture, and then I moved them here. And then I have this really cool curly cube plant. I'm pretty sure I had one of these last year, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And then we have a bunch of elephant ears. We added a new water fountain. Now, I like the water fountain, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it because it keeps water on my patio, so it's leaking somewhere. I think I kind of finally figured out the leak yesterday. but I'm not 100% sure. But if there's not just a solid stream coming out of this one, it's the second one down, it hits right here. As you can see, that's wet. And then it comes down and it partially goes in here and it partially goes out the side. Otherwise, it has a leak. And we have turned it upside down, we've drained it, we cannot find the leak. So I'm wondering if that's not the case. That, and both of my Aussies like to apparently drink out of it. They think it's their own drinking fountain. And then we have, oh, and then the wind is blowing some out, so that's some of the cause of the water out today. But I keep having to refill it. This dude, man, he is going bananas. It's a bunch of different stuff. You know, we've got the purple petunias, and I'm telling you, the purple petunias were not like that when I planted them. They have just thrived right here. And then we have this plant my grandma gave me for Mother's Day. That one's not doing as well over there. This one comes and goes in spurts. And then this guy over here, he is actually a perennial from last year. I bought a bench. I don't know if we knew that I bought this bench or not. So I really like it. This patio has just made me so stinking happy. Then we have this hibiscus. Now, I paid $16 and change. It was like 17 or 18 after tax, you know. It was $16 and change for this hibiscus, and it is huge. Now, I point that out because I will show you the other hibiscus that I bought and tell you how much I paid for it, and you can see a size difference. Crazy. Now, these are not real flowers, but isn't that floral arrangement gorgeous? My little one did it. I took floral arranging classes in college, and I gave her some pointers, and then pretty much what I did was I cut the flowers apart because we bought all the flowers at Hobby Lobby along with the base and the top stuff and the flags. All came from Hobby Lobby. But I bought the flowers, I cut them apart, and I pulled a lot of the green leaves off because we didn't need them. And I let her go to town. And I mean, she did amazing. And then we bought the table runner. Now here's the one thing that if you think you're gonna do one of these, I would recommend put some weight in the bottom of that, because we didn't. And I hot glued it in, and I'm not sure I can get it back out super easy. I can get it out, but anyway, it keeps falling over with the wind. So something I would recommend. Don't judge my house. We're still in the process of doing a lot of things. But I forgot to show the flowers. I got these for Mother's Day from my little one, and they are thriving. However, we'll see some here in a minute that I might have killed. And then the weeds. When it's hot, the weeds just take over. But these are portulaca. Man, the portulacas are growing crazy in this truck. Okay, so now we're over here, and we have, no, this is the English thyme, and the one over there is lemon thyme. That's what it is. This is the English. Anyway, we have lavender, mainly just for the pretty and the smell. And then my mint went crazy, and then all of a sudden it kind of punked out. It hasn't totally punked out. It's just not as big and bushy and pretty. Now, I did come through over the weekend, and I harvested some of the herbs because they were starting to get to the point I needed to do something with them, or I was going to lose all of them. And so that's where we are in this. And goodness, you would think that I would remember things on my patio, but let's go look one other thing before we move on. Okay, speaking of herbs, here we are propagating basil. Now, if you've never propagated basil, it is so super simple. So you would go in on a basil plant, and like it's got the double leaves right here, kind of. I actually cut some off, but you can see where they were. You cut right above that, and the plant will continue to thrive. And you can take that top piece that you cut off, and you stick it in some water. And you're going to stick it in the water like this. And I took the leaves up so it had a good long branch. And you keep it in fresh water. You can change out the water every couple of days. But in about 2 weeks or so, we will have roots that grow on this. And once those happen, then you can go ahead and plant it in the soil. And you will have new, fresh basil plant without having to start from seed. And it takes a lot less time. So, like I said, I just did this over the weekend. So we don't have any not leaf, but root growth yet. We should soon. Okay, so we're back to over by the mint and thyme and lavender. And here's Miss Moo. This is my little ones. She picked out those flowers, and I need to get those weeds pulled. I came through and I weed whacked a bunch of stuff, but now I made this plant based off of one that I saw at the nursery. And I told you that I was going to tell you about a hibiscus. You see this yellow hibiscus in here? Pretty small. Of course, I am going to point out that he's in, a good size container, but he is in a container. And I paid $24 for him, and he's tiny. So it's crazy. I got him at the flower center. The other one came from a box store, and the one from the box store is actually doing better. Usually it's the other way around. So I thought that was an interesting thing to point out. We have this poor elephant here. He's not doing real well. Like, these were dying, so I came in and I cut them off. Was that the right thing to do? I think so. I don't know a lot about elephant ears. They told me off of their grasshopper. They told me at the garden store that these were not perennials in my area. However, I do want to point out that a lot of people are able to hold them over as perennials. If you look online, it says zone 8 and 9 plus, and we used to be 6B, now we're apparently 7A as of here recently. So I don't know. I had one that I planted in the front of my house, and it started coming back, and then something happened and it just disappeared. And then the other day I went through with the weed eater, and it wasn't until I cut it off that I realized I think it was coming back yet again. So maybe it'll come back a third time. Let's hope. Then I have an olive tree. Now, olive trees are not perennials in my area, so I'm going to have to take it inside once winter comes. I propped it up with a weird stake thing. Don't ask. But it needed some help, so we propped it up. I can't wait to see what it does. I don't know much about it. It was just something I bought because... Then we have this planter up here. Now, I told you I killed some flowers. I killed those. And I replaced them with petunias. I have to tell you, I have a lot better luck with petunias for some reason than I do anything else. We pulled the plants that were out in there, and I don't know what they were, and we put them there. This is lilies, so they're only up for like a very short period of time. We're talking like 30 days max, and then they go dormant for a year. I've had those, I believe this is the third year, and only 2 of them came back, but man, I had greens everywhere. This one is my oldest one's planter, and I mean, they're so close together, you kind of have to really pay attention. But this is the one that she put, and she also put some of the lilies in there. And so obviously we're just left with the green foliage, but they should come back next year. I've had pretty good luck. She was pretty upset at first with hers, and mostly what you have to consider is if they are annuals, they are going to be very small at first, and then they're just going to thrive. And that's what happened here. And I told her, just because she kept saying, I need to add more. And I'm like, give it time, because being annuals, they're just going to pop. And that's what they did. She came over, I think, last weekend and was like, holy cow. And I said, I told you. Plus, I have been fertilizing once a week, every week, except for last week because I forgot. This is the little one, planter. It's been a little more colorful, and right now it kind of seems like it isn't, but it's still doing very, very well. Basically what I did with both of them is I took them to the flower shop. I said, okay, let's pick flowers, and this is your planter that you're going to put it in. So they both did really well, in my opinion. And then here's basil. I went ahead, and the basil that I'm propagating came off of this. Now, how you know that basil is getting ready to bolt is it starts doing this, or it even does this. When it does that, it is going to be a little bitter. But if you just pluck those off like that, they will continue, the plant will continue to thrive and you'll be fine. So go ahead and just keep eating that basil. That's what I got to say about it, because yum, and it smells amazing. Now, here's an interesting piece of whatever that I've been working on. I came in, and as you can tell, I'm not finished. And actually, we just got some of this done yesterday. So this is the back side of my husband's outdoor kitchen. We're not done with it. So that was part of the thing, is I wanted to put something here to kind of make it prettier, because this was kind of hideous. But obviously, since we haven't finished that, we have to be able to get to it. So I didn't want to put a bunch of fill dirt and plant a bunch of plants and then have them all trampled over, because I've done that and then I get mad because, hello, all my plants die. So I decided to do a rock garden, and part of the plan is to come in and put all my potato grow bags, which are actually right over here in my yard for now, on the gravel. That gives them good drainage, that gives us easy access to them, it keeps the weeds down, and it makes this prettier. I came in with these paver rock things, and so the day that I went to buy those, I was going to haul them home on the bed of my truck. Well, they weigh about 80 pounds a piece, I think is what the guy at Lowe's told me. My truck wouldn't haul them, so I had to come home. I had to get my husband's truck, which is heavier duty than mine. His is super duty, mine's just a little half ton. And in the process, I decided to take the trailer. So I took our little bitty trailer here, because we have a big trailer and then we have a little trailer. The big trailer was loaded down with lumber for our patio. So I took the little trailer and I thought, oh, we can just load that on. Oh, no. We had to load them all by hand. Poor guys at Lowe's. I appreciate them so much because they were so helpful. They helped me load. I really think I got 24, but I can't find all of them. So maybe I just got 22. Anyway, they helped me load these pavers. Then I got to come home and I got to unload them all by myself because my husband was busy, and I wanted it done. The next thing I had to do was bring in gravel. We finally got the gravel delivered on Friday, and those poor guys, they were on their way to deliver the gravel to us, and their truck broke down. They were 2 miles from my house when the truck broke down. Sad. So anyway, a second truck had to bring it. We finally got it, and then yesterday we used the tractor to bring my gravel in. I do not have it completely flat. I don't know if you can tell that from this particular video or not, but it still needs some leveling out. Then I bought this windmill that I want for here. So I actually buried it in the gravel, and then I went ahead and I moved my tomato plant. I have one tomato plant that I put in a grow bag here, and look, I actually even have some reddish tomatoes. They're not quite ripe, but getting pretty darn close, so that's exciting. Now we're gonna move on. Whoops, I'm gonna fall down. Let's hope not. There's the other 2 pavers. So I think I bought 24. These are all my potatoes. I'm ready to harvest them. I did them in grow bags this year because what you're supposed to be able to do is take the grow bag and dump it out onto a tarp, which I have to find my tarp. And then you can sift through the soil, pick out your potatoes, take the green leaves to get rid of, and then you have all the soil left over. So it's time to harvest potatoes, and that's something that we're getting ready to do here very soon. I gave up on the big garden this year. It just isn't gonna happen. So I have my rose bush right here. These are actually pepper plants. I believe that might be a jalapeno. I don't know, but it's starting to put on peppers, so that's exciting. I have a pepper plant here that's just doing so-so, and then that one went ahead and said, see you later, bye. I have some windows that came out of my house that I have to get rid of, and the dogs keep stepping on. Now this is a mum that is actually voluntary. I did not plant that mum there. The mum was actually, if I remember right, planted in the planter behind it, but all of a sudden it started coming up, and hey, I'll take it. Then in that planter we have some elephant ears that I actually did not think were going to make it. And then we have some pepper plants. I believe those are Thai chili, but they could be something else. I can't get to them right now without tripping over glass, and I don't really feel like doing that, so we're just gonna leave it. So then we have this. This guy has been kind of hit and miss. Some days he's doing good, some days he's doing bad. He is right in the front of my house. My house faces south, or the front of it does. And so he takes a brutal beating from the sun pretty much all day long, but he keeps coming back. It is a type of petunia, so that's exciting. Like I said, I've had really good luck. I do have some weeds in there that I need to come in and pull out. And I did weed eat the front of my house, but some of them are in with some of my flowers and stuff, so I have to do that by hand. And the day that I did it, I did have time, so we have weeds. Hello, weeds. Then here's my big mum that I planted in 2020. I need to come in and get the old stuff out. It's one of those that you do need to remove the old stuff so that because the new stuff comes in on its own stuff. It's not old stuff, new stuff. Okay, let's try to be a little more clarifying. Some perennials come in on the old stems, so you have to leave them. You don't want to prune them back. Other stuff, like a mum, comes in on new growth, so it's actually best to go ahead and get rid of the old growth. You usually want to, especially with mums, leave the old growth for a short time because that allows it overwinter a little bit better. But once it kind of gets time, then you want to go ahead and get rid of the old growth. Now, I stepped on a dog. This planter here was on very unsteady ground. We were getting ready to go out of town. There was supposed to be bad weather, so I went ahead and I pulled it apart. So it's in 4 different pieces, 3 here and 1 there. It's supposed to have peppers. Like these here in the front of my house are pretty much all planted to peppers, except there is a little bit of basil, and I forgot that there was basil. So the basil is actually going to seed, and that's okay. I don't know. We're just not going to worry about that. So then we have more portulacas here in the front of the house and another truck planter. We have petunias, and I believe those are zinnias that I don't really remember planting. So at one point I had planted some from seed, and that may be what this is. Then I have another planter right here, and this is pretty much all peppers with some flowers up at the top to try and draw in the pollinators. Interestingly enough, I have some mushrooms growing. That's not a good sign. Okay. Mushrooms mean kind of bad things. Anyway, then I have some weeds, but I do have some pepper plants, 1 here and 1 there. It was kind of a weird thing that some dirt got dropped there. I needed somewhere to go with some pepper plants, so I just planted them right there. And then we have this big Arctic Fire dogwood. There's actually 2 of them there, but holy cow, look at that. It takes up the whole side of my house, basically. And then we have some coneflowers that came in. Now, these coneflowers are actually voluntary, so you could turn them as a weed, because a weed is anything that is where it's not supposed to be. So I didn't actually plant these coneflowers here. They just kind of came up. So you could call them a weed. I'm not going to. I think they're pretty. So I do have a butterfly here on. Let's see if we can zoom in. Butterfly. So we like pollinators around here. Then I have some weeds and some more coneflowers that are voluntary, plus a ladder. Apparently I'm growing a ladder. Just kidding. There is my other rose bush. And then I have some stuff that I started from seed. It needs to be watered. It's not doing well. Then my hibiscus. And these hibiscus thrive on the side of my house. It is so cool. I have 3 of these. One of them may have gotten taken out when we did all this new siding last year, because I believe the second one was supposed to be right there. And then there's the other one. So I have 2. And the thing about a perennial is give it time and it will thrive. So we took out this tree back in March. It has made the landscape of my backyard area quite different. I have all these trees that are basically from that tree. They were seeds and whatever that I need to get in here, and I need to figure out how to get rid of so I can go ahead and get all the wood out of here so that I can do other things. But that takes time, and it hasn't happened yet. So this flower box here is in my husband's office window, and I cannot keep flowers alive in it to save my life. I know you're looking at that and you say, oh, I see live flowers. Oh, that's been a labor of love, and I think I've replanted this thing 4 times now. They're just, I don't know. there's 2 window boxes in this same area, that one, and then there's one over there. This one isn't doing well, and that one is. Now, my mother-in-law does water hers every day, and my husband doesn't, so I come through when I remember, which is every couple of days, so that could be the difference. Then we have zinnias, and there's an ice flower right there. But we have the zinnias and a Prince Tut. I love Prince Tut. He is so cool. It's that grass stuff back there. Anyway, my zinnia garden is so gorgeous. I am so happy. I love zinnias. Then these landscaping timbers came out of my main garden, and I planted it here in front because actually I was going to turn this into a flower bed, but I needed to plant tomatoes, and so tomatoes came in. So we have tomatoes for the wind and some basil, basically just because tomatoes and basil work really well, and it kind of helps keep bugs away from the tomatoes, so I planted the basil there. I do have weeds back there that I do need to take care of. My mother-in-law planted a sweet potato here, and then she has a tomato plant there. And then I gave her a bunch of zinnias too, and they are just doing phenomenal. Now, she has planted some other things down in there that, sorry, Mima, my zinnias apparently are taking over, but you've got pretty windows. So, and then she planted that window box and some plants here. Like her, we both love portulacas, and they're just so pretty. And then she planted this, and then she put 2 tomatoes right there. So part of getting the rocks done is we put the canopy here, right there, that was on my patio over here, because we had to take the big tree out, so there is no sun protection in my backyard right now. So we put this canopy up here, along with just a little bitty wading pool that my little one and my niece can use, or the dogs can use, or you can stick your feet in, or, you know, whatever floats your boat. It's just kind of here for whatever. And then we came in and we put more rocks here to level this out. We put all the old patio rugs here so that you can sit on a nice rug, or if the girls want to get in the water, they can take their shoes off and get in. Otherwise, my parents live just down the road, and my parents have a big pool, so we go down there. But just for quick cool off, we have that. So here we are on the first day of July. This is actually, we're going to call it a June garden tour because I never got around to the June one. I did today. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I plan on doing more videos. Every video that I had shot prior to this one just really didn't impress me. So that is why it took a little bit to get one, but I plan to come back better than ever, so please stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye. I can tell you, having the tomato plant there and oregano here, and just use my kitchen sink here to water in the plants. Super handy. And then it gets them water, and I'm not having to drag buckets everywhere. Just like that, they are going to be watered.